indoctrinated intentionally by cultural forces since the day we were born to have this story be told to ourselves. That industrialists invented it so that we would show up at work.
Right. And this opens up the whole conversation around education, which was, constructed from an industrialist perspective to, create compliant workers and to sort of, lure us into a web of easy coercion, right? And you have a lot of ideas about what's wrong with education and how it should be changed.
And when you name it, it's already making people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They don't want to believe that. It feels like something that your loving parents put you into at the beginning that you've been doing your whole life must be a natural law. It must be correct. And if it is working for you, no problem. No harm, no foul. But what we are seeing with a new generation coming up, with the climate, with everything else, is it's not working for us. And we are not going to be able to standardize, test our way out of this. And understanding that well-meaning people were part of a system of indoctrination helps you realize what clothes the emperor is wearing and what to do about it for yourself and for your kids.
So what is the path forward? If you woke up tomorrow and you had been, you found yourself as the Secretary of Education or some other, you're in the seat of power to, make these changes, or you were the provost of Harvard or whatnot, like what would you do?
Well, neither of those people has any power. We have a systems problem. There are people who are opening schools that address it, but most parents don't want to send their kids there because it's systemic. And I think we should be teaching kids 2 or 3 things: how to lead, how to solve interesting problems, and probably how to be a good citizen. How to lead is different than how to manage. How to lead is wayfinding, pathfinding, and encouraging people to follow you, even though they don't have to. And solving interesting problems is the opposite of looking them up in Wikipedia. We don't need anyone to know what 4 times 7 is, because we can just look it up. What we need is for people to say, oh, this is a thorny intersection of human problems, technical problems in a situation. I wonder if there's a way I can decode this. We spend 1 minute a year helping 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds with stuff like that. And it extends really dramatically into sports in school, which seems to be about solving a trophy shortage, not about helping kids lead and solve interesting problems.
That was part of the Malcolm discussion that I had.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when we add it all up, what we're doing is creating people who are willing to be compliant cogs in an industrial system. And guess what? The industrial system is falling apart. So now we have all these people who say, I did what I was supposed to do. Where is my American dream? And we have to say to them, well, actually what we need you to do is be more insightful than an artificial intelligence system and be more flexible than somebody I could hire for half the price who's remote. If you can't do those 2 things, I don't need you. But we never taught them how to do either.
Right. After 20 years of indoctrination in following the rules and being a good, studious individual, you become inured to following rules. And what we need now are people who look at the rules and deconstruct them. And that's just not part of the curriculum.
Right. And they're not even looking. Like if you have a fever, you realize you have a fever. You try to find some Tylenol. In this case, people don't even know that this system exists and that it's the problem. And so part of my work on education has been just highlighting it, just saying, look what just happened in this classroom right here. Is that what we want to do tomorrow? And if not, how are we going to start undoing it? And there's a lot of interesting work getting done in unschooling, in peer-to-peer schooling, where if you say to a 7-year-old, teach this 5-year-old 5 things, they probably can. And the 7-year-old grows, the 5-year-old grows, and a cycle is created that's different. Lenny Levine, the great kindergarten teacher who had such an impact on my family, he said to the parents, the only purpose of his kindergarten class for 9 months is you can't say, you can't play. He said, your kids are all going to learn how to read. But if I can teach them the expression, you can't say, you can't play, meaning if someone wants to join the circle, they can join the circle. If someone needs your help, they get your help. If someone needs leadership, you lead. If I can teach them that, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, but it's scary from a parental perspective because the system and all the external pressures that are
Correct.
built into complying and adhering to that system make it very threatening and scary for any parent to say, we're going to opt out of that and do this when everyone else is doing it
Yes.
in the traditional way, because nobody wants to lead their child astray. Everybody wants the best for their kid. And it's very easy to say, well, everyone else is doing this, it must be fine.
Yep.
We're going to take this risk and do this. What if it doesn't work out?
Right. Back to being on the hook, right? That most suburban parents would like to be on the hook for a sticker on the back of their car 10 years from now, not on the hook to answer for why their kid didn't do well on the SATs.
Right. And the sticker is about the parents.
Correct. The sticker is about the parents. And then we say to a 17-year-old, please make a decision about going $250,000 in debt and base it on whether or not their stadium makes you happy.
Sure. And not for nothing, when you're 17, you need to know what you're going to spend the rest of your life doing.
Yeah.
Which is total insanity.
Right. But all of these things have evolved in our lifetime
Mm-hmm.
because the system rewards them. And the more I think about systems change, the more clear it becomes to me that the system and the status quo remain because they're good at remaining, that there's a self-fulfilling thing going on, that systems that didn't work disappear, and that systems that are good at hanging on, hang on. And so we built all of this insulation around the industrial system, the education system, the carbon system, so that they would stick around. And the only way to get rid of them is not for the emperor or the person at the top to slice them open, because that never happens. It's when the grassroots says, we're not going to deal with this anymore.
I spent about 7 years working within the public school system, and to be more specific, working as a social worker here in a local high school in the Boise, Idaho region. By the end, I found myself completely disillusioned with so much of what I was seeing on a day-to-day basis. I was also experiencing a large deal of cognitive dissonance because so much of what I saw in the public school system made absolutely no sense. I found that the students' deepest needs were not being met, and much of what was being taught was completely useless or outdated. If you are interested or are feeling like I was and are currently working within this system, I would like to invite you to read about my experience in 2 blogs I have written, entitled Why I Dropped Out of Grad School and Quit My Job Working Within the Public School System, Parts 1 and 2. In these pieces of writing, I share a detailed account of my, at times hilarious, at other times horrifying, but mostly heartfelt, experience working within the education system. If this resonates with you, you will find that you are not alone, and together we can strive to create something new.